UFC Fight Night Whittaker versus Ren De Ridder just took place, and these are all the matchups that need to be made next. Starting off with the main event winner, that is Ren De Ridder. Look, he did beat Robert Whittaker. I know some people are trying to fight the good fight for Robert Whittaker, and don't get me wrong, Whittaker is still my boy, but Ren De Ridder won that fight. He just done more than Robert Whittaker, and he deserved to have his hand raised. Now, he's undefeated now in the UFC. He's beat GM3, he's beat Kevin Holland, he's beat Botnickel, and now he's beating Robert Whittaker. I think he needs one more ranked win, in my opinion, before fighting for the title. And the winner of this matchup is perfect. You've got Ren De Ridder taking on Anthony Hernandez. This fight is a Fight Night main event in a couple of weeks in the Apex. Shock horror. The winner of this should fight Ren De Ridder. I think that's the perfect fight to make. Let's be honest, Ren De Ridder or Anthony Hernandez, they're not big punchers, they're not big finishers. This is not going to be a war. It's going to be a pretty boring decision if we're being honest. None of them are really going to take that much damage in this matchup, just basing it off what we have seen throughout their career. So, timing wise, this will make sense. Get this on a pay-per-view. I don't care what one you get it on, maybe MSG. Get Ren De Ridder maybe opening up the card, because realistically, whoever wins against Baralho versus Imavov will be fighting the winner of DDP Hamzat next. They will deserve it. So let's not have Ren De Ridder set out, because I just think he needs one more. That's his first ranked win in Robert Whittaker. So this makes sense. Timing wise, it makes sense. Ren De Ridder taking on the winner of Ren De Ridder versus Anthony Hernandez. Moving on to Robert Whittaker. The Whittaker era is over. Fuck! What the fuck? One thing Whittaker won't be doing next is moving up to light heavyweight. Yeah, don't be fucking doing that. Get that idea out of your head. Ren De Ridder was massive compared to him in there last night, and he really struggled with the size of Ren De Ridder. Pause. But Robert Whittaker, I don't think he's completely finished. He still has more to give, in my opinion. And I think the loser of Imavov versus Kyle Baralho will be the perfect matchup for Robert Whittaker to take on next. Obviously, you've got Brendan Allen coming off a win. He's already fought Paulo Costa. But Brendan Allen and Paulo Costa, realistically, should be fighting each other next. They were on the same pay-per-view. They both won. It makes sense to match those guys up. Sean Strickland, when he gets his shit sorted out, probably will be rematching Israel Adesanya. And let's be honest, nobody wants the trilogy of Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya. You do have the possibility of MVP if he beats Jared Cannonier, but I think this is perfect. The loser of Imavov versus Kyle Baralho, that is who Robert Whittaker should be fighting next. Who loses against Imavov and Kyle Baralho? I think it's Kyle Baralho. I think Nassim Imavov is criminally underrated. He's on a crazy win streak right now. Great striker, carries a lot of power, and is a good grappler in his own right, and is more proven than what Kyle Baralho is. So I think Baralho versus Whittaker, really fun fight. It would be a good feature fight to any pay-per-view. I'm still hoping for Whittaker. Will he ever be champion again? No. But I still think that Robert Whittaker has more to give in his career. And I just think whoever loses out of Imavov versus Baralho, them versus Whittaker, stylistically, is just a fun matchup. So that is what I want to be seeing out of them next. Moving on to Petr Yan. This is obvious. We can't keep this guy away from the title fight any longer. Yeah, I know Umar Nurmagomedov is fighting Mario Batista. Do not give Umar Nurmagomedov a title fight off beating Mario Batista over what Yan's been doing. Yan's beat Song Yudong, he's beaten Figueiredo, he's now just beat Marcus McGee. I know Marcus McGee was outside of the top 10, but those are 3 ranked wins from Petr Yan. I know he got dominated by Merab, and that's kind of the thing that nobody wants to see Merab versus Yan again. I get that. It wasn't a great fight. Yan got smoked. And that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a rematch. Corey Sandhagen doesn't have the finishing potential to beat someone like Merab, in my opinion. Merab is going to just Merab him, beat him by decision. So we are going to get Yan versus Merab too, which really isn't an interesting fight. I do understand that, but it's a needed fight. Yan, former champion, has worked his way back up into the rankings now. He's worked his way back up into a number 1 contender shot. He is the number 1 guy now. O'Malley's had his rematch. Umar needs to beat Mario Batista and keep Umar away from the belt. He doesn't win one fight against a ranked fighter, fight for the belt, lose, then fights another ranked fighter, and then gets a title fight over someone like Yan, who's on a 3-fight win streak, all 3 wins over ranked opponents. Fuck Umar Nurmagomedov, back of the line, Merab versus Yan 2. Do we see anything different? I don't think so. I think Merab will beat him quite comfortably again. Ignore that voice break. Moving on. We have got Uggers. We have got One Eye Wonder. Shower Bullet coming off that win over Marc-Andre Barriault. This guy is nowhere near as good as what people were letting on that he was. Very tough though. Him versus Marvin Vtori is just the obvious one. I mean, him and Marvin Vtori have been going back and forth since Shower Bullet made his debut. Marvin Vtori can't get a win to save his life inside of the middleweight rankings. Shower Bullet isn't beating anybody inside the rankings. I think this is the fight to make. I think this is it. If Shower's going to beat anybody in the rankings, it's Marvin Vtori. I actually think Marvin Vtori would probably win this. I think he would use his grappling against someone like Shower Bullet. I don't think Marblehead would switch his brain off in this fight. I know people might be like, well, Marvin Vtori has a brain. Yes, and I think he would just out-grapple Shower Bullet. But I think this would be a fun fight. They've been talking about it for a while. The UFC are going to want to get Shower Bullet into the rankings. If he's going to beat anybody in the rankings, it is Marvin Vtori. This would be a fun one. The build-up would be fun as well. But what the hell, guys? What the hell? Marvin Vtori, Shower Bullet, make it happen. I was going to say do it for UFC 321, but Shower Bullet just got his nose fucking punched the back of his head. So I don't know if he's going to be ready for them. But if he is, make that fight happen. Make it fight happen, because Shower Bullet can't fight anywhere outside of the Middle East, I don't think, because of his eye. So, and that there, UFC 321, I know it's got the heavyweight title on it, but it's in need of some other interesting matchups. So Marvin Vtori, Shower Bullet, if possible, make it happen on UFC 321. And the final fight, Bryce Mitchell versus Peyton Talbot. Yo, tell me this isn't the fight to make. Bryce Mitchell's now a bantamweight. We cannot skip the opportunity for the build-up. Brubber, is that Frank Ocean's dick in your mouth, Brubber, what the hell, Brubber, what the hell, Brubber? Bryce Mitchell, Peyton Talbot. Tell me that shit isn't hilarious in the build-up. Bryce Mitchell is so fucking funny, based as hell. You've got Peyton Talbot. He likes to roll around with the likes of Frank Ocean. We know John Jones has an eye on Peyton Talbot. He plays for the other team. No shame in that. But him versus Bryce Mitchell, the build-up would just be fucking hilarious. I would love to see this build-up. Also, it's a big fight. 2 unranked UFC bantamweights. Bryce Mitchell has a big following. He's a big name. Peyton Talbot also big name outside of the rankings. And I think it's just a good opener to any pay-per-view, because it needs to have press conference space, because I think the build-up would be fucking hilarious between both guys. There's a dialogue between them. There's complete polar opposites. I think it would be really funny, and it's a good traditional striker versus grappler matchup. I think this is the fight to make for Bryce Mitchell next. Him, Peyton Talbot. Let me know your opinions in the comments below on these matchups. Which one would you like to see the most, and who do you think would win? And as always, thanks for the support. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all again in the next one.